Batman number 18, Tom King writing and David Finch on art. This is the third part of the I Am Bane storyline that is ongoing and has had us on a roller coaster of opinions since it started that have mixed between us as well.
Yeah.
So we're all over the place on this in terms of thoughts and feelings. Um, but I'm gonna start with Matt here because Matt's
Uh-huh.
made a statement this week that I think will be the most interesting way to start this conversation. Matt,
Uh,
you like this issue of Batman? Do explain.
yeah. Yeah. So this is the first one that I really could get behind because instead of just telling us that Batman's equal, they showed us how similar they actually are. And so that background, I mean, even though I knew kinda they were similar, the fact that they are so similarly driven, just each of them have their own unique
End goal.
things that they bring to the table. Yeah. Whereas Batman wants to stomp out crime, Bane wants to take it over. And it goes to the control issues of Bane, like with the Venom. And I really liked how the issue was presented. And the fight scene felt really brutal.
It
Like,
did. Fight scene looked
you do-
great. I think
Yeah,
Finch
you
draws a
don't
good Bane.
see. Yeah, he draws a good Bane that is super, like, over the top, muscly, but it makes
kind of
sense because
Bane,
of the
isn't it?
Venom. Yeah, and it's not like, sometimes when you see Hulk drawn and he's just real huge over the top, like when Ed McGuinness draws him, it's kind of. But here with this Bane, it felt, I like to say comic book real, to where yeah, he's not big and huge, but he's big. Like you believe him taking out a wall.
I think it's
Right?
because he's jacked all over. He's proportionately
Yeah.
jacked though. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't feel
Exactly.
like any bit is like there's big muscles there, but he's got
He's not top heavy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
yeah, just the fight was so brutal with him and Batman and him throwing Batman around. Like, kind of felt like Dark Knight Rises a little bit. With
Yeah, a little bit of
Bane,
that.
even though that Bane was huge.
You think
So-
darkness is your ally. You merely
Yeah.
adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I'll stop that now. But yeah, it kind of felt like that. I actually quite liked a lot of Bane's dialogue in that fight as well. I liked his like, stop trying to fight me like I'm one of your goddamn rogues. I'm not the Penguin. I'm not the Cat. I'm not the stupid Joker. And he's like beating the crap out of him as he's saying this.
Well, and I
It's-
love how he tells him, I'm not a fairy tale. I'm not a carnival sideshow. And then it all builds up to I am Bane. And sitting there reading that, I was like, wow, this is the most invested I've been in a Batman comic. Like, main title, not...
Actually,
not-
I think the one thing that I've consistently liked through this whole arc is I love the build to Bane in the sense that the last issue it had him on the roof and he likes to flare, and like the build as Bane is this menacing foe that can actually take on Batman is
He's a boogeyman.
yeah
Like, that's what you want.
yeah a real boogeyman. And
Yeah.
I think the fight in this was great, and he wins the fight. He beats him up. Obviously, Catwoman deals with the henchmen, but one of my favorite things, one of my favorite pages in this book, before we get to all the flashbacks that I'm sure we're going to talk about, is towards the end when Bane's going towards Arkham Asylum for Psycho Pirate, and there's that great page where the lightning strikes and you see Batman, like as the lightning strikes you see Batman at the door, but then it goes away again and then the strikes again and he's gone, and as Bane's walking towards it, and it's just like, again, the build of, right, okay, Batman get
Now
beat,
it's flipped.
but he's not down,
Yeah.
but he got beat, but Bane's going towards to get Psycho Pirate and Batman has to be there to stop him, and it's just, the build is to,
Well,
it's just like,
I hope...
I don't go.
No, I hope the next issue is the reverse of the second issue, where you have a build up to Batman. Like he's in the shadows in Arkham, and Bane's there and not really knowing, because that's kind of Bane's weakness is his pride. He's going to think that he's better than all of this, and that's eventually. I mean, that's what brought him down in the I Am Suicide story arc.
Yeah, because if they tackle that, like, alright, so Batman's got on the offensive, he realised, okay, on a straight-on fight, maybe he's not the best way to tackle Bane, and he
Yep.
does stick to the shadows, and he acts like a predator in the dark. If that's how they
Yep.
tackle the next issue, that would be interesting. I agree with that. But that page of the lightning striking was great. The
Yep.
build, the actual fight, and then of course as all this is going on, we have these dual flashbacks of their sort of life stories. One page is Bruce, one page is Bane, and it mirrors. And I like that they use some key moments that we recognise, like the Bruce kicking the tree from year one, very very iconic
Yep.
thing you remember from that book. And it's like Bane in his cell with the water rising, and it's just the duality of the whole thing. And no, it was a great issue. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and it almost the whole mother dynamic too is almost King going, "Hey, Batman vs Superman, this is how you handle mother issues." Like,
I would agree with that to a
I
point.
bought it because I bought that they're both driven kind of by the deaths of their caretaker, and whereas Bane had a prison raise him, Bruce had Alfred. You know, he had a caring person, and it wasn't kill or be killed. And they still ended up in the same place. And so
I get that. I think the moments that the one moment that went too far for me with the mother was Batman. He seemed to be in. No, that was amusing. It was right at the end of it almost. It seemed to be. I think it was maybe his rebirth outfit because he had the yellow outline around the bat. And he's like, "Oh, you see, mother, one step then another." Like it was obviously the callback to the tightrope when he's training. It's like, "Oh, this is it now. I'm ready." But it kind of felt like this recent, like in the rebirth outfit, really.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been getting that feeling from Batman in the last 8 months, so it kind of felt a little weird. That was like the point that went too far for me.
Yeah, I get that. But I get because then you have the parallel, you have the mirror with Bane.
I think.
Yeah.
I think the whole talking to his mother thing, though, it obviously it's tying back into again year one a little bit with the yes, father, I shall become a bat. It's kind of tying into that, but for me, I almost don't take the talking to the mother literal, in a weird way. Like I don't know, like I get that it's more like a thought process thing than it is actual straight dialogue.
Well, if it was showing that as in a narration or a thought box, I'd get that. But as a dialogue box, then I'm taking it how they're presenting it in that sense.
Okay, sure, I get that, but I also don't think it's like if there is small moments where he talks to his dead mother, like, do you really want us to have been seeing that constantly?
No, I didn't feel like that was his mindset at all recently, is all. I get it when all this stuff when he was younger and when he was training, it makes sense.
Have they given him the 0-year outfit with the purple gloves?
Oh, yeah, I feel like I'd have bought it a lot more that way, yeah.
I actually really like the panel above that where he's talking to the Bat Family, especially since I don't think we've seen all those Bat Family characters together in any books yet. Because it's obviously it's got the ones you expect, but Batwoman's there, Batgirl's there. Batgirl's not been with the rest of the family too much since Rebirth started. But he's talking about his strength, and then the panel that's up on the opposite side is Bane getting Venom jacked into him. That's his strength.
I'm assuming that's a clue as to how this is going to end. The family will be what saves him.
Well, Superman's got to wake him up out of their stasis chamber first.
I'm sure he can manage it.
Very true.
I just feel like the way it mirrors that there. The key to stopping Bane usually is take away his venom, right?
Yeah.
Right. But you have to. I think he's gonna have to just take away his will, if you will. Like
yeah. But the way he says it like even says you are my true strength is what he says to the family. I feel like the family is going to come in and be a big.
Which I'm cool with.
Don't forget Alfred and Gotham Girl are in Arkham.
Yeah.
With the pirate. Yeah. And Alfred's his biggest, champion. And
hey, I would love nothing more for the family. He'll show up and kind of help win this fight. That would plenty of fun.
I would love for Alfred just to kick Bane in the lunchbox. And boom. Yeah.
I also liked. Obviously, we were talking about the last couple of issues about the bodies in the cave, and so Bane kind of knows that Bruce is it, and he does seem to because he says, "Oh, I'm not some rich boy playing dress up." He's like he kind of tells us that he does know that he's Bruce.
Yeah, I think that confirms it. That line beyond the shadow of a doubt says he knows what's going on here. But I don't think he cares. Like,
no, because again, he's not the Joker. He's not Penguin. He's not Two-Face. It's not personal with Bane. Bane just wants to conquer crime and be the head.
I think
it also ties into Bane being smart. Like, he's always been a smart guy, and it makes sense that he would figure it out. And again, comparing the fight to Dark Knight Rises a little bit, it also feels like Dark Knight Rises, where in that movie, Bane actually does just know who he is. It's never a question.
He built his stuff under the Batcave, right?
Like, what I like in this is, I feel Bane does respect Bruce's will. Like you say, this is a battle of willpower, and even if he is just some rich boy, as Bane puts it, he kind of still has some respect that he's still out there doing this.
I want to point out a subtle little thing in the layouts here that I quite like. Do you know all the pages with the flashbacks going down each side? You'll notice that there is an inequality to them, in that Bruce's panels are all overlapping Bane's panels.
Yeah.
It's a subtle little thing. Just a subtle little thing that he's... As much as we think as Batman being in the shadows and all that, he was the rich boy up in the light and living a normal life, and Bane was always in the dark, down below. I think it's just a subtle little touch that just emulates that a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, he was born in the darkness.
Yeah, even the colouring in the two panels.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love the colouring shifts where Bruce typically is like it's very muted but normal colours, and Bane's always has this yellowish tint. Even when he's out of the prison and it's not just that lighting, it's there all times.
But it's just a subtle little touch to show that Bane's part of the underworld. Whereas Batman, as much as we think of Batman as being in the shadows and all that, he is part of the world. He's up in the light in that sense. And Bane's this seedy underbelly of society and whatever else you want to call it. It's a subtle touch. I like it.
Yeah, this might actually be Finch's best work yet.
Yep, I agree.
I think it's hard to fault almost any of it. His layouts, like you say, the fight feels amazing. His Bane is fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't think the last time I was as impressed with Finch as I was in this.
I almost feel bad that I'm kind of like, oh yeah, no, it's great. Probably Finch's best work. Admittedly, I probably would have liked it more if Janin was drawing it, but
yeah,
I can't hold that against him. As far as his work goes,
that's unfair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just.
I don't like you because you're not Janin.
Well, it's just the problem with having like him paired up with another artist who I think is just breathtaking most of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Finch
Although
is kind
I
of.
do think I enjoy jacked up Finch's Bane more than naked Throne of Skulls Janin.
Oh,
Bane.
sure.
But that's just a personal thing. I think.
We never got to see Janin draw Bane in outfit though, so who knows?
No, I'm sure it'll look great though.
Oh, probably. I imagine so. But obviously, we end with Bane basically beating down the door into Arkham. He's coming for the pirate, and I'm excited. I think obviously the one big issue that we all kind of agreed on after the last book is we said we kind of wished that the Robins weren't all beaten so easily. It felt kind of weird that happened off screen, as it were. But I think given that it's upswung quite a bit in this issue, I feel like as a trade, this will read a lot more better.
And I like that they have Catwoman there at the end, like because we were talking about last issue how she kind of went down a bit easily as well.
Yeah, but it was all part of the plan.
Seemingly.